stuff like that. Okay. So the first thing we do is this key right here. Okay. Just turns on, and what it's doing is boots up everything with the sound system in order, because you don't want to turn like amps on before sound things. So it boots everything up in the right order. Okay. You can take the cover off the soundboard, and it booted up already. Okay. Then for the video, there's two switches. The power one right here, right up front. Turns red. There's power right here. Turns it on. And there's a power on the back of this. Usually that. Okay. And then the computer gets turned on as a power button right in the back of it. So if you've been on a Mac, you know where that's at. And it all takes a minute to boot up.
And it all needs to be turned on. All of it. There's not like a section that's left off.
No, everything gets turned
Everything.
on.
That's a lot of on. Okay.
Yep. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kind of on things.
Okay.
Right.
And the key is always there?
Key's always in there, yeah.
Okay.
Alright, so this is booting up. Let's go over sound stuff first, and then we'll get to video. Okay? Yeah, I told you. I wish I could turn the booth around.
That's this, right?
Yeah, this is the sound. So there is no CD player. So there's no CD player, but what there is a cable right here that says iPod on it.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Because we're in a digital age. So plug in whatever you want. You can play this into a computer, an iPod, whatever you want to do to plug that in, okay? So this is a 48-channel board, and you only see 24 channels. So does anyone have run sound a little bit? Like, no, okay, cool. So then the way this works is this is 1 through 24, and then this is 25 through 48. And it's digital, so it's just, the other ones are still active. It's just this is what you're controlling at the time. So the first 24 are right here. So this is drums. So we'll go back to 1 through 24. Drums, electric 1, electric 2, acoustic guitars, synths. Don't worry about tracks, don't worry about aux. Background vocals, these are what you guys are mainly going to use because they're all handheld. That's just a little bit easier. When they're red, these are your mutes. Okay, so if I wanted to unmute, let's go grab, Rob, can you grab me that handheld mic up there?
Sure.
You a sound person?
Huh?
You a background in sound?
I know it, yeah. Alright, thanks. So we have like 4 wireless mics up there. They'll have a label on them. So the background vocal 1, 2, 3. Lead vocals are both hardwired in. I'll show you how to do those. Handheld. And then there's a lavalier that's in my drawer. If you ever want to put one on that. So there's on-off switches on here. So test 1, 2.
That's 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, this is a handheld.
That's the handheld right there.
So you see how you're seeing a green line coming on here now? That means it's getting signal. So if I unmute this channel, I just turned it on. Okay, so red mutes it out, so you don't hear it. So say you don't want to hear something, you just mute it. If you unmute it, it comes through, and that's it. That's a handheld mic, real simple. Okay, so everything basically works in that same premise. So if you want to play, here's an iPod right here. If you want to play a computer or music, which you guys will do every time, plug it in. Now on the bottom, remember this is 1 through 24. This is 25 through 48. So I need to switch because I see the iPod is on the lower one, so I have to switch those feeds. So I'm controlling this row now. And if I hit play, see I'm getting a signal now. If I unmute those, they're already linked together because it's been built in. And turn them off.
How did you switch it from the upper to the lower end? This
right here, there's 2 buttons right here, yeah.
Okay.
One says 25 to 48, one says 1 to 24.
So when it's like red, that means this one is live.
Yellow, yeah, this one's live right now.
Right. Okay. All right.
Okay. So now there's 2 ways to turn stuff on. You have your master. This should always stay pretty much at 0. If you can see the board here, it goes everywhere from like negative 60 to 10 plus 10 decibels. So the best thing to do with your master is always leave it at like 0. And then you control what you want really with the individual layers. Okay? And so sometimes it depends on how you want to run your house, you know. So You can boot those up. Everything basically works that way. So what you're seeing here, I wouldn't worry about a lot of this. The Sermon 1 and Sermon 2 are actually, there's like 2 little tape decks. That was the big screen of my dad. It's the main, the backup. It's a little hard drive that plays. You will use this computer one a lot because you'll probably play different stuff off the computer. So I'll show you how that works. But that comes right in this channel. There's a DVD player over there.
Okay.
There's a Fios, which is like cable, iPod. This is where this gets a little more complicated. Don't worry about reverbs and stuff like that. They're already kind of pre-programmed into the channels, so I wouldn't worry about those right now. We'll get into those later. This is just, let me hear myself over a sound system and plug stuff in. The only thing I'll tell you is I'm going to teach you one more kind of slightly thing. So let's say if I'm playing this iPod here, okay, and it's playing on here, and I can't quite get enough feed from it. Whatever you select on this top bank, see how it switched the monitor here? This is how I control this stuff per channel. So the only thing I would probably tell you to do is like this preamp, like it's like the only reason you'd ever touch that if for some reason you're trying to get a microphone and you just can't get it, your preamp is probably too low and it's not getting enough feed into the board, and so you'll just turn the preamp up. You've done some sound before?
Yeah.
Okay. For guys that have done some sound, you can play the same thing when you get into this. You can come in here, and if you click those channels, then you can get into your frequency stuff, lows, mids, highs, if you want to adjust that stuff. For what you guys are starting off with, I wouldn't worry about that. You know, in a voice, I want to manipulate. That's more for like a worse singer. I would use a little more highs or mids in their voice, but I think we'll get there down the road. But if you've done a little bit, if you ever want to get into those things. Here's the good thing about a digital board. Don't worry about messing stuff up, okay? It's a preset. We can always just revert back. And even when we first turn the key on, it loads like a blank setting. Like it's all just a standard setting. So we even have different ones that we load up for different services and stuff like that. So you're not going to mess anything up, okay? The one we have set up has pretty nice EQs built in for the house already. And as long as you don't go into this thing at the very end and hit save when you're all done, everything, when you turn the board off, it all gets erased what you did. So even if you're like, oh man, I just messed something up real bad, don't worry. It's not going to affect what we're doing at all. That's the great thing about a digital board. Okay? That's like sound 101. Okay, now let's go up and let's see if we can actually plug something in to a stage. So let's do it real simple where there's backgrounds. You have
Right? There's 2 backgrounds.
Yeah, for backgrounds, what I would do, I would use all the wireless. They're much easier to use. You know, they're all in that closet to the left. So I'll show you when we go up on stage. I'll show you that. So what we have to plug into the stage that I would probably leave it to is like acoustic guitars 1 and 2 and lead vocals 1 and 2, and they're the first ones plugged in. If the thing builds and you have like electric guitar players and bass, they're already preset to come into this board. So as soon as they plug in, you're going to start seeing them come into faders. You can control them. But even if not, they have amps. Just let the amp carry. If you need to turn it up a little bit that day to let it carry the room, that's fine. If you're not getting the board, they have their own amps on, so they can kind of control their own settings. So let's just work on plugging in like a...
What about keyboard?
Yeah, keyboard.